I had an agent come to me and say, hey, he's like, I've got this lady. She's 80 years old. She wants to sell her property. It needs work. She wants 200. I have it listed for 265. I've got nobody looking at it. I asked her if she'll do seller finance. And she said yes. But if she's going to do seller finance, she wants 10,000 extra for the price. Okay. Hold on. Let me go ahead and get this figured out. Let me pencil it out. Da, da, da. Okay. You know what? Yes, we can go ahead and give her that extra 10,000, but I need an interest rate of 2% to go ahead and make that payment work long term. She says, yes, cool. We got it figured out. She's carrying a seller finance because she owns it outright, right? She owns it outright. She's tired of being a landlord. She's not hurting for money because she only asked us for 15,000 down payment. So she asked us for 5% down, gave us 2% interest rate. And she's carrying the note for 5 years.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Mauro Ben Alvarez, is a wholesaler and flipper in Las Vegas, Nevada, with 75 flips completed between himself and projects that he's managed. Mauro, thanks for taking the time today.
Hey, brother, nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. And when we talk about, wholesaling and flipping, I think a lot of people would love to be in a market like Vegas, but also, they might not be sure, what the market really is like, because you think of Vegas and you think of really a tourist destination. So you're imagining a lot of maybe newer properties, but is there also an opportunity for, distressed property acquisition out there as well?
Is just like with every market, they all have their areas. Yes, it is a highly touristic area, but the people have to live somewhere. So that's where the opportunity is. And Vegas has a lot of older parts and a lot of newer parts. So there's definitely areas where you could go in and really focus on, doing some fix and flipping.
Now, when folks are looking at, let's take wholesale specifically, there's so many ways to get leads. You could door knock, you could find, probate lists, death, pre-foreclosure, divorce, really any type of, personal distress. But then, of course, you could drive for dollars and find properties that are physically distressed. Do you have one main lead source that has worked really well?
So my main lead source has really been direct to agent. So I've actually wholesaled from Vegas. I've wholesaled in Houston, in DFW, in Florida, here in Vegas and Arizona. And actually California as well during that time, all from Vegas, from my computer, just reaching out to agents. So just
Now, I
reaching
think
out
that's
to
probably
agents.
the dream
Uh-huh.
for a lot of people is to do remote wholesaling. I also know from my personal experience that there's a learning curve there, right? Because now you're inserting
There
yourself
is.
into other markets, and as well, you have to acclimate yourself with what the average housing price is. Like, I can talk for Dallas and San Antonio. I can't necessarily talk for Vegas. So for folks who are looking at maybe getting started in remote wholesale, what feedback would you have for that?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Pick a market. So for me, once I was in 5 markets, it wasn't that I initially went into 5 markets. I started, with one market, which was Vegas first, then went to DFW, then added Houston, then added Florida, and California. I've always just kind of, because I'm from California, I've always just sent stuff out over there anyways, right? So getting familiar with one market, right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm taking over, if something's 60 cents on the dollar, I can sell that in Florida and California, in, Vegas, wherever it is, right? But depending on the time of year, the area that you're working in, like right now, I can sell stuff in Vegas closer to 75 cents on the dollar. I can sell stuff in California, depending on where it is, closer to 80 cents on the dollar, right? And that's still enough for somebody to go in and make a profit. So, and that I'm talking about wholesaling fix and flip deals, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
for wholesaling creative deals, that's a whole other animal. You got to know what the rent is. Is there, short-term rental restrictions? Is there an HOA that doesn't allow short-term rentals? Is there an HOA that only allows you to have your property rented 3 months at a time? Or does the city prohibit this? There's a lot of great opportunity to take over properties with low interest rates and turn them into businesses via creative finance. However, you just got to be knowledgeable of each particular market, because what would work here in Vegas doesn't work in North Houston, but will work in Fort Worth. But what, you know what I mean? So like, it's so many variables that you're just like, but at the end of the day, if you're going to wholesale something that it pencils out long term, means month to month, you've got yourself a deal. Anyway.
I mean, when we talk specifically about uh, underwriting these deals, it seemed like for a minute there, at least while I was doing it, that the arithmetic was changing, because repair costs were going up. So at one point, I was like, 75% of ARV minus repairs, and then maybe with some buffer. And then at the end of it, I'm like, do I need to be getting these deals at like 50% of ARV minus repairs? Because I felt like buyers were drying up. Have you experienced any of that, or has your experience been maybe totally different?
So, again, for each avenue that you're unloading, there's different buyers. For the fix and flips, I would say probably around October, November, I did see kind of a slowdown of everybody, weary. I saw a lot of people that just weren't pulling the trigger at all during that time. Um, and usually that's when you look for your bigger guys, right? You look for your new Westerns, you look for other guys that, that are maybe end buyers, that are bigger guys that are, hey, they've got crews all the time. They adjust a little bit for their price per square foot to rehab it, but their labor costs aren't, changing as much. So they're willing to keep moving. You know what I mean? There's always a buyer if you're at a good enough discount.
I mean, that's exactly right. One of the things that I've noticed from my time as a wholesaler and then still following the space is that you do have to have the ability to pivot. So, I mean, so you're in a number of different markets, which gives you the advantage of, hey, maybe when one strategy is working really well in this one market, you can dig in there and you don't have to rely so much on another market. I actually physically moved myself from San Antonio to Dallas, Texas, because I felt like the strategy that I was doing was not working very well in San Antonio. And then it ended up working better in Dallas. But being able
Mm.
to do it remotely gives you that ability to take advantage of several markets.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yep. 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 I mean, you should, I mean, as a beginner, you need to find one avenue and stick to that avenue and
Yeah.
find a mentor, find somebody that you can go and, hey, you know what? Can I go be your cold caller for 3 months? And will you teach me the business?
Learn the
I've,
ropes.
I've done that with several people where they're like, hey, you know what? Can I come in, step into your business? We usually offer a 10%, training during training. Hey, 10%, you're going to work all our leads. Here's what you're going to do. I'm going to plug you into my system. Just go ahead and make the calls to the agents and have discussions, period. That's it.
I do want to
So,
ask you about seller financing, because this is something
okay.
that I think everyone is seeing, even people on the traditional side, because properties are sitting in some markets. I can speak for Texas. Properties are sitting. I was speaking to a realtor in North Padre and Port Aransas who was telling me that there's like a 220-day supply of homes, which sounds nuts. But I mean, I can speak for Dallas as well, where, I would see, flipped homes potentially sitting, and same thing in San Antonio for several months. So when that happens, and when you might be a seller and that your home is not flipped, right? It's not like an HGTV level flip grade home, and you're seeing your property sit on market, you might start to think about some other options, whether that's rent the property out, whether that's take the property, off of market, or reduce the listing price. And to me, as an outsider looking in, that also gives an opportunity for investors and wholesalers to make seller finance offers to those people as well.
So kind of, I'll give you an example. We last year, out of all the flips we did, we ended up having to hold 3 of the flips. One of them is rented. Because it was bought with creative finance, it's penciling out as a long term. We're breaking even. There's $100 and something thousand sitting in that property. But we're not losing by keeping it, and it's paying for itself. It's just sitting there out of sight, out of mind. We have 2 properties that we bought with hard money, that the market shifted on us around August, and it basically left us in a situation where we're gonna sell these for a loss. We're gonna go ahead and take the hit. We're gonna go ahead and sell them for a loss. Now, for a loss doesn't mean we're bringing in money to the table. It means we put in the down payment and everything else, the payments that we've made along the way and everything. They are going to, we're going to sell them. We're going to get some cash back, but nowhere of what it was left in there. Now, we would
Yeah.
love to have the opportunity to do something creative, like you're mentioning, right? Like, hey, you know what? Do you want to buy our house? It's perfect. It's pretty. It's everything it's got. And we would love to finance it for you. However, the financing that we have, the hard money loan, it's due in a year. It's 12%. So it's not
Right.
going to be worth it for you as an end buyer.
Yeah.
Now, I had a lady come to us if it was the end of September. I had an agent come to me and say, hey, he's like, I've got this lady. She's 80 years old. She wants to sell her property. It needs work. She wants 200. I have it listed for 265. I've got nobody looking at it. I asked her if she'll do seller finance, and she said yes. But if she's going to do seller finance, she wants 10,000 extra for the price. Okay, hold on. Let me go ahead and get this figured out. Let me pencil it out. Da da da. Okay, you know what? Yes, we can go ahead and give her that extra 10,000, but I need an interest rate of 2% to go ahead and make that payment work long term. She says, yes, cool. We got it figured out. She's carrying a seller finance because she owns it outright, right? She owns it outright. She's tired of being a landlord. She's not hurting for money because she only asked us for 15,000 down payment. So she asked us for 5% down, gave us 2% interest rate. And she's carrying the note for 5 years.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I mean, hey, that seems like a win-win-win. She gets $10,000 extra, you get the low rate, and no banks involved. I I'm almost bullish on seller finance, except the thing is there's such a high learning curve for people in general, and plus you get a lot of even realtors who I'll go to who may think no exposure to it and not understanding what's quite happening. But really, when we think about how homes are being sold in general, at this point, like people need like a blood test practically to get a loan, a mortgage. That I
Yep.
do think that there's really a place for more seller financing. It's just that issue of, hey, you've got to educate, potentially buyer, seller, and even professionals who are in the space.
Yeah, it is because it does cause some liability for realtors, right? The realtor that did the transaction, if we don't perform on that note, there's a possibility that the owner might come back and say, "Hey, you sold it to somebody and you didn't, take the extra steps to protect it. You didn't tell me that there was a potential liability." Our contract states it, right? Our contract through sub two states, all of everything that needs to go ahead and help us stay protected. But from an agent standpoint, I don't know that they've done everything they need to protect themselves, right? Because they don't
Yeah.
necessarily disclose everything, and it's not something that they're in all the time, you know.
And then to follow up on that is that I think the ideal situation is when there's a very low balance or no balance on the mortgage, and they are trying to get that top dollar and are willing to wait, right? And so they're saying, well, look, if I don't sell this home right now, I'll list it again in a year. To me, that makes perfect sense to do a seller finance situation
Yep.
because, like,
Yep.
what's the worst case scenario? Let's say that buyer doesn't make the payment. It goes back to the seller. They can list the home in a year, and now they've got like free, quote unquote, free money lying around. So, to me, when there is a low, very low balance or no balance, I mean, I would definitely consider seller financing unless I was like, hey, I need this windfall of cash now.
Yeah, I get it.
I do want to pivot a bit here though, Mauro, and ask you about managing these flips because I know you've been a part of 75 plus flips, many of which that you've managed. And from being on sites myself, I was part of a demo crew, a demolition crew in DFW. I certainly know that there's a lot of moving pieces in a flip, and everyone's going to do things differently. But as soon as you start taking up pulling up floors and taking down walls, you kind of start to see each flip is different. What's been your experience? And then also follow up to that is what advice would you have for maybe newer flippers?
My experience with flips is that there's no two flips alike, no matter what, man. On the same street, same year built, same number of people in it. There's no two the same because somebody brought in one guy to help them do something, and somebody else brought somebody else to help them do something, and it's a whole mess. So, my advice, and honestly, we had gone away from this, and we're actually going to be going back to this just because, I've been doing it so long, we're good. Is if you're going to do a flip, run your numbers 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, as many times as you need. Shoot for a conservative number. Be happy with the number that you're going to make. And then on the numbers that you're taking into consideration for your expenses to rehab the property, add another 10%, you know.
Yeah.
And have a couple other people look at the numbers for you besides yourself. Have somebody that you can shadow off of. Find that person, that, has been in the business that will look at it and tell, yeah, this is a great deal. No, it's not a good deal. Especially if you've got all the numbers already plugged in, I've got guys that come to me, hey, what do you think of this flip? Oh, I'll say, "Hey, can I partner in with you on it?" That means that's a really good flip, right? If I'm just like, "Hey, ooh, this one's when is it? Is it, are you buying it in February, which means it'll be ready by March, April, which is right, the perfect timing. Okay, yeah, you should be good." Versus, are you buying something in September and it's really tight and you don't know if you'll have it on market and enough people looking at it, during the winter. So, I would say definitely check your numbers 3 times, throw in a buffer, and double check your numbers with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that you probably can't say that enough, right? Because you think everything's right until there's a foundation issue that you didn't see, and you're like, how is this even here? Like this home looked
Home
perfect,
inspection,
right?
home
You,
inspection,
you
home
know what I mean?
inspection. Spend the once you know that you're moving ahead, spend the 300 bucks, 150, 400 bucks, whatever it is in your area, get a home inspection. It might help you. I mean, it might not help you at all. You might go in and say, "Oh, I found, foundation issues," and you may go to the seller and be like, "No, that's why this is the price that it is," and then you could just make an informed decision on moving forward or I'm not, or it might help you get it reduced. But that 300, 400 bucks that you spend to be able to say, "Hey, you know what? Nah, I don't want it after all," is is well worth it. Um, you know, rather than running into an issue later on.
Yeah, and too, I think to follow that up, there's a lot of people who might get into flipping thinking like, hey, this is going to be a walk in the park. And there was a time, and that this may come back, where you could buy a flip wrong, and you could still get out on the upside. But
COVID.
that's become harder and harder and harder. And now it almost feels like in some cases you could buy a flip right and still, the market could be against you and you might have to hold the
Yes.
property. And so it's not something that you can go into like 100% certainty really ever. And that's why you've got to be, ultra conservative right now with a buffer, with having someone look at your numbers, with having a home inspection, right? But
And preferably on your first flip, do something local. Find something where you can be taking a look at, because it's easier for you to see on contractors because contractors are horrible. So when you get into a bad contractor, tight numbers, tight time frame, and the market kind of shifting on you, you could end up in a whole world
yeah,
of
it's
hurt.
gonna be a tough spot for anyone to be in. We are coming up on time here though, Mauro. Any new projects that you're working on, and then also, what's the best way for folks in our audience to reach out to you or your team?
They could go ahead and look me up at Mauro Ben Alvarez, either on Facebook or on Instagram. We do have a park, an actual RV development park that I'm going to be looking at in the next few days. Somebody came to me with some land. They've got a house on it. It's overlooking a river, and they're thinking of doing some development. So we might be looking for some capital, some private money lenders or private money partners for that particular situation.
Mauro, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate you, bud.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.